Yo, what's up, PlusUltraFam? PlusUltraFam shoutouts to Joseph Andrews, What If Universe, Nigel Kaas, Stephen Craigie, Alejandro Zarita, who had a really touching comment, thanks man, and a special birthday shoutout to Alexander Robert Oakley. Love you, man. First off, is everybody comfortable? Just, sit back, relax, get some water, chill out, do you. Let's just, be calm. And, you guys really enjoyed this video. And don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly happy about that. Let's be honest, it was a very stupid what if that really no one asked for. But when I said it was a one-shot, I really didn't mean it. At some point, Oolong just wouldn't be relevant as a fighter anymore due to power creep. And there are only so many situations in Dragon Ball where his shapeshifting will come in handy. And I did most of those in the video. But I probably won't escape the almighty wrath of the PlusUltraFam until I take the scenario as far as I possibly can. And I guess I should. So, Oolong is hijacking this episode of the PlusUltraPodcast. So, starting where we left off, we're going to say that the Z Fighters, along with Nappa, put up a better fight until Goku is healed, and then he goes on to defeat Frieza by becoming a Super Saiyan, after witnessing the death of Oolong. Yeah, the two are very good friends in this timeline, so it could probably definitely, elicit the same reaction from him as the death of Krillin did in canon. So the rest of their fight goes about as in canon, and Krillin survives this time. Goku escapes to Yardrat while Nappa, Vegeta, the Namekians, and the Z-Fighters return to Earth, with the former two returning to space almost instantly to go and find Kakarot and see how he became a Super Saiyan. Back to life, and we get a pretty chill year for those on Earth because the Garlic Jr. saga isn't canon. Trunks would arrive and do what Trunks does, and side note, it would be pretty funny to see what clothing Bulma actually gives to Nappa. My guy just gonna have to wear it like a crop top because I doubt she has anything that fits him, and just the idea of that cracks me up. Vegeta, I can't pull it down. Goku would then be given his warning by Trunks, and the 3 years of training is to begin. Now, here's the thing, Yamcha is a stronger version of himself here because he has been for almost the entire scenario since he's trained with Master Roshi, and after getting his power unlocked on Namek, he's gonna get an even bigger boost from there. Now, we don't know the specifics of everyone's individual training during the 3-year time skip. I think there are some filler scenes in the anime, but outside of that, we have the manga panel for chapter 336, and that's really all we really get. Like, Chaozu and Tien are obviously going to train together. Gohan, Goku, and Piccolo are shown training with, Goku being a Super Saiyan, and Yamcha and Krillin seem to be training alone. And Vegeta is doing the same, but in this timeline, I would say that he's definitely going to be training with Nappa, meaning they're definitely going to get a lot stronger because those two have training partners, and with them both being Saiyans, I feel like they're going to have a lot of animosity towards Goku and Trunks, who reached Super Saiyan before them, and they feel like, oh, we're the elites, we should be the ones to reach it first. So I could really see Vegeta reaching Super Saiyan a lot quicker, meaning that Nappa was going to be kind of a hindrance to his strength, while Vegeta will be kind of a boost to his. That said, Nappa is also like 50 years old when he arrives on Earth. It's been like a year and 6 months, and he's spent a few hours dead, but he's been wished back till now. And after 3 years, and the year they spent on Earth, before the 3 years even starts, he's almost like 55 at this point, and Saiyans start to age really quickly around their 80s. But there's gotta be some wear and tear even before then. So this duo is getting powerful, but Nappa's age is definitely a hindrance. And at some point, I'm sure he would reach Super Saiyan, but again, the man is getting older. Now, I could see Oolong and Krillin training together, or Oolong might train with Goku and his group. Both Krillin and Oolong have strong ties to the Turtle School in this timeline, so training at Kame House is a lot likely in this scenario. But y'all love Oolong and want me to try and keep him, I just kissed the microphone, want me to try and keep him around as long as possible, so he'll train with Goku in my version of this timeline. Let's say the pig puts his hoof down because he's never actually trained with Goku, and this is a dangerous situation, so he wants to get as strong as he possibly can to make sure he survives. This means that Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo are stronger because of the added training partner, and Oolong is going to get a tiny bit weaker than this version of the already stronger Gohan. Also, I saw some comments on the original Oolong video, and there were some questions like if Oolong could turn into a Saiyan, could he go Super Saiyan? I don't think he could. My theory of the whole shapeshifting ability is that the form the user takes bestows upon them the inherent qualities of that form. So as a fish, you can breathe underwater. But in terms of the Super Saiyan transformation, the idea of the amount of purity and S cells needed to transform aren't really guaranteed. And Oolong will still need to know how to transform in the first place, and a myriad of other things that might, hinder it. Super Saiyan isn't really inherent to a Saiyan, it's something that they can achieve. It's like, you don't come out just buff, you have to work out for it. The idea of this is that if Oolong can study something, he can learn how it works and become that object with the inherent qualities of that object. So no Super Saiyan Oolong, no Android Oolong with an infinite energy engine, and no Omni King Oolong with omnipotence. He'll subscribe to Carthu's theory that all the Z fighters were at least Mecha Frieza level by the time of the 3-year time skip had passed, so he's somewhere beyond that. I'm not really giving power loads for this. The awaited day arrives, and the Z fighters, save for Nappa and Vegeta, meet up and they split up, with Yamcha actually catching 19 and 20. Yamcha is about to spear his hand through his chest. The former bandit activates an ability he had trained hard to master. His new master, Puar, had taught him how to shapeshift, after he saw how effective Oolong had become as a fighter while using his shapeshifting abilities. He struggles hard to think of something that will wriggle away from the grabs, and then turns into a worm. Not even a snake, a literal worm. But this is effective, and Gero is still confused as the little worm just falls to his fingers and he kind of loses his target. He's wondering where it went, only for that worm to wiggle under him and poof into a large wolf. Gero is taken on a wild ride as Yamcha runs under his legs and picks him up. While doing this, he's able to run through 19's legs and makes the two androids slam into each other, and they clank and clatter to the ground as Yamcha transforms back into himself and yells to the Z fighters that he found the androids. I might add some Benny Hill music to that. Later, the gang gather and watch as 19 and 20 awkwardly get up and off of each other, and the same situation of going to a less populated area still happens. Goku and 19 face off, and you could argue that Goku may have been reminded to take the heart medicine in this timeline, but I'll argue it's Goku. He's stronger, so he could definitely do some more damage than he did in canon, but 19 is still going to put him in the same situation as in canon, and Vegeta and Nappa will make their grand entrance. I'm not 100% sure this would be different. Nappa would probably respect Vegeta's, wanting to fight by himself and his own prey and let him battle alone, but Gero will still get away. The androids are released and the Z fighters have their asses beat, and Krillin and Oolong are now thrusting off 18 because, dog, it's 18, like, bro, look at her. A lot of stuff here is going to start to link up with canon for now. This is why I told you guys Oolong really wouldn't be that relevant anymore. Goku rests, Trunks returns, Vegeta sulks while Nappa and Trunks finally speak. I feel like Nappa would be a lot more accepting of Trunks. Technically, this is royalty, and this is just a dynamic I really want to see. Future Trunks and adult Nappa, or but Nappa's always been an adult, but those two hanging out. That's a really cool, dynamic I really want to see. Piccolo goes to fuse with Kami and runs into Cell, but again, Piccolo is stronger, so I'm actually going to say he's, able to get a few more good hits in on the creature, and is going to go for a kill shot, but at the last moment, there's a familiar bomb noise and a pink cloud. When it dissipates, Cell is completely gone. Cell does have Oolong cells, and Oolong's been a pretty prominent character in this timeline, so I don't think it's too hard to argue that Cell could shapeshift in this timeline, but it just might not be too relevant for him. The Oolong cells might also make Cell a, tiny bit stronger, but after this fight, I'm going to say he's going to go suck up even more people than in canon, so we'll be getting a stronger first form Cell here. Piccolo meets up with everyone and tells them what he found out, and we'll then skip to the battle with 17 and Piccolo that Oolong decides to accompany Piccolo to. This goes similar to canon because 17 and 18 should tend to be proportionally stronger since Gero had the surveillance and stuff like that. Cell had to revert to his first stage and travel back in time, so it's more likely that he'd start from a pretty low base from where they're just starting, normally. Cell arrives and is about to absorb 17, but there's a solar flare from Oolong in his face, and almost instantly after he's defeated Piccolo, he's on a scramble trying to search for 17 and 18 and where they've actually gone. 16 and 17 are flying off in the opposite direction. Growling, he realizes that they must have split up with 18, and he gives chase after 17. He catches up to them pretty easily, and with his increased speed and power, he's able to pretty easily knock 16 away. The android is not down and out, but after that blow, he's just blown back pretty far. 17 is then grabbed by his shirt, and Cell opens his tail to begin absorbing the cyborg. This works, but nothing happens. Cell curses, realizing that that must have been Oolong. But it's already too late, and Oolong shapeshifts into his ultimate transformation form, allowing him to grow into a giant grade 8 body. He would have transformed into an explosive or bomb, but he's died once before and isn't too keen on doing that again. This, like King Piccolo earlier in this scenario, pretty much just blows Cell into, bits and chunks and nasty gory bits all over the corner there, but other than that, he's gonna regenerate from this. Boost from this. Seeing that Cell is okay, 16 orders Oolong to flee and latches onto the generated bio-android, and proceeds to detonate his own bomb, which would actually do a pretty extreme amount of damage on him. If anything, Cell really will have to regenerate from a single cell like he did in canon. This blast could be pretty similar to the one that he did himself in canon, just a bit weaker, but this is a weaker version of Cell, and then, the second form Cell that actually does this in canon, so it pretty much evens out. But I think Cell would regenerate from this pretty easily and possibly gain a Zenkai boost. Seeing that Cell actually is okay, 16 orders Oolong to flee from the area and latches onto the regenerated Cell, and proceeds to detonate his own bomb, which would actually do an extreme amount of damage. This would be a very similar situation when Cell blew himself up in canon, and since he's a weaker Cell and stuff like that, this is all going to pretty much even out. After coming back from this in his first form, because some might actually come back from the one nucleus and stuff like that, a lot might be the same just at an earlier time. This will probably be a first form Cell that is equal to second form Cell, or pretty much equal, the canonical version of him at least. And if that's the case, then Cell just has to find 17 and 18, absorb them, and he would become perfect Cell. He'd hold the Cell games, and the Z Fighters have to use the room spirit in time. Now, you could argue that Cell is so much stronger now that it's really not going to matter if they train or not. He's going to win no matter what, which I kind of do agree with. That could definitely be a possibility here, in which case you just get a really sad ending on this timeline. I still feel like Oolong just doesn't play a huge role in this timeline because he's not a Saiyan. He's not Goku or Vegeta or even Nappa in this timeline. And even Nappa might not play too big of a role in this timeline because, number one, the scenario isn't really about Nappa, and number two, Nappa is going to be a weaker Saiyan than Goku and Vegeta at some point just because he's older, he has less potential, and all these other factors. Only reason that shapeshifting was an effective tactic in this timeline, or at least in this tiny part that I've just covered here, is because the cyborgs don't have any sensible energy. So Cell couldn't tell the difference if it was Oolong or 17 or whoever. So Gohan would go on to defeat Cell if we're going to go with the lighter ending. Goku sacrifices himself, Cell comes back and loses again to Gohan. Oolong would most likely retire like all the other human Z Fighters did during the 7-year time skip, so even then, the Majin Buu saga, he's not going to be relevant. The most, he might re-enter the World Tournament circuit, just to maybe pick up some girls, because it's still Oolong. I just don't see him doing that much down the line. The absolute, few biggest moments he'll really have anywhere beyond this is maybe fighting the Frieza soldiers in the Resurrection F saga, because I don't see him being on the Tournament of Power team. Someone had an idea of him transforming into the Omni King to scare opponents during the Tournament of Power, but when you really think about that, that doesn't really make sense. The Omni Kings were visible the entire time to the participants, so it's pretty easy to just check and look and see, oh, they're still there, so this isn't the real Omni King, and just knock Oolong off the stage. Could go the easy route and just change my rules of writing to allow Oolong to be a super strong character by gaining the powers or whatever he transforms into, but I feel like that's inconsistent writing on the idea of what happened in canon, and it's just pretty boring to me. And now it's ranting time, because this is more of a big problem with how Kishimoto and, Toriyama had wrote their stories that had these ensemble casts. If your name wasn't Goku or Vegeta, or in the other case, Sasuke or Naruto, then at some point you just grew to be irrelevant. You weren't a big factor in the story anymore. And that's a really big shame, because I honestly know more people who are just fans of Yamcha than they are fans of Goku. Or at least they're bigger fans of Yamcha than they are of Goku. Goku just isn't that interesting a character, even though, he's still one of my favorite characters in the series. I just don't want every single story to be about Goku. And I feel like every single story doesn't have to be about Goku. And that's why I have extremely high hopes for the My Hero Academia series. Every member of Class 1A, and soon every member of Class 1B, once the certain arc gets animated, will be fan favorites just like the human Z Fighters were at one point. It wouldn't make sense for Horikoshi to start writing them as useless side characters that are just, background noise to the Deku and Bakugo show. And I'm not 100% caught up on Black Clover, and I know I've been kind of hard on Black Clover in the past. I'm actually a pretty big fan of it now, but I have a strong feeling that if your name isn't Asta or Yuno, you're going to quickly become irrelevant in that series as well. But with My Hero, Kirishima has had a really big moment, 2 really big moments to shine in the manga that are going to be animated really, really soon. And seems like he can get a lot more powerful than what he already is. So as Ochako and Todoroki and Ida, it really feels like everyone has an amazing potential to grow a lot stronger. Now, they might not be the same level as Deku when the story ends, and that's not really what I'm advocating here. I'm not saying I want Yamcha and Krillin and Tien to be as strong as Goku, but I would really like them to be, key players in the stories from now on. And I feel like Toyotaro and Toriyama should be thinking about that moving forward. I know they probably won't, because this is a pretty proven formula. This has been making money for a long time. This has been gaining new fans for a long time, but at the same time, maybe you should change things up just for the sake of it. But I'm gonna close this up here because I took this last little bit as an opportunity to rant on you guys, so I'm just gonna head out and, cut this off here. Be sure to comment your what if suggestions using hashtag #PlusUltraFam. Remember that spelling does count. Capital P-L-U-S, capital U-L-T-R-A, capital F-A-M, and you're all good. Comment your what if, just whatever. Tell me how you guys feel about the whole lack of love of side characters that we have gotten in our favorite shonen series. To me, it's a really big problem with the writing of these series, and I really want it to change at some point. I just want to hear what your opinion of it is. Shout out to all my patrons, and please go follow and consider supporting. Everything linked in the description below. And with that said, nothing left to say, but always go beyond. Plus Ultra. See you guys next time.